In 1999, movie audiences were flocking in droves to see one very eagerly anticipated movie, and that movie was Episode 1: The Phantom Menace. Okay, but after that they of course went back to the cinema to watch The Sixth Sense, the haunting supernatural thriller directed by the director everyone either loves or hates depending on what his last movie was, M. Night Shyamalan, in which a young boy called Cole, played by Haley Joel Osment, is plagued by constant terrifying visions of ghosts, as it seems that he can communicate with the dead. His single mother Lynn, played by Toni Collette, is at her wit's end with her son's strange behaviour. Child psychologist Malcolm Crowe, played by Bruce Willis, steps in to try and help Cole and to understand the true nature of his fears and turmoils, while also repairing his suffering marriage, in this masterpiece which is essentially a tale of communication. So what was it about The Sixth Sense that was so perfect? And why hasn't M. Night Shyamalan been able to top it since? Well, today we are going to find out as we explore 10 things that you didn't know about The Sixth Sense. And yes, this video will contain spoilers, just giving you a heads up. So, let's check it out.
I want to tell you a secret now. I see dead people.
Number 10. The Sixth Sense may have been inspired by an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Sixth Sense was a directional triumph for writer-director M. Night Shyamalan. The movie was in fact released on his 29th birthday, and with its huge success it also brought with it many triumphs and victories for the young director, including 6 Academy Award nominations, with him even being crowned as the next Spielberg. Yeah, that's just awkward in hindsight. Shyamalan also wrote the script before directing it, and there were several differences between the original script and the movie. For example, Bruce Willis's Malcolm Crowe character wasn't a child psychologist, but a crime scene photographer. However, more to the point, many people have noticed that the movie is very similar to a 1994 episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, called The Tale of the Dream Girl. Are You Afraid of the Dark was a popular 90s children horror anthology TV series, and in the Tale of the Dream Girl episode, it turns out that one of the characters in the episode, a teenage boy called Johnny, doesn't realise he's dead until the end of the episode, with a shock twist ending very similar to the Malcolm character in The Sixth Sense, no doubt surprising many young 90s kids when they watched it. So what do you guys think? Coincidence? Or was M. Night Shyamalan just a huge fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and the idea of a main character not knowing they're dead the whole time lit a spark in his head? But to be fair, it's also worth mentioning that M. Night Shyamalan has actually spoken about the claim and said that he's actually never heard of Are You Afraid of the Dark, so who knows? Number 9. Controversy in obtaining the script. The Sixth Sense was distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution, which is a division of the Walt Disney Company. And considering what a huge hit The Sixth Sense was, you would think that the company would be happy that someone in their division brought the rights to the script, right? Well, wrong, as David Vogel's investment in The Sixth Sense would see him lose his job as president of Walt Disney Productions. After reading Shyamalan's script, Vogel instantly loved it and brought the rights to the script for $3 million. The only problem is, he didn't seek approval from the higher-ups, to which he was dismissed from the company. In fact, Disney was so unconfident with The Sixth Sense not being a hit, they sold a huge chunk of the movie's production rights to Spyglass Entertainment, leaving them with 12% of the box office intakes. And considering The Sixth Sense made $672.8 million, that has to be one nasty blow for the big mouse himself. Number 8. Bruce Willis was cast in the movie because he owed it to Disney. In The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis plays the tragic and relatable Malcolm Crowe, a child psychologist whose own personal life is in turmoil who will do whatever it takes to help young Cole. The role took Willis out of his usual tough guy mold and showed us a very raw and vulnerable character, which he actually does very well. However, how Willis got involved in The Sixth Sense is an interesting story, as during the 90s he was producing and starring in a movie for Disney called Broadway Brawler. But the production was a nightmare, in which Willis fired the movie's director and most of the crew, to which Disney shut the movie down outright. So to make up for Disney's $17 million loss in the project, Willis signed a 3-picture movie deal with Disney, in which he would have to star in 3 features without fail. The first was Armageddon, followed by The Sixth Sense, and preceded by The Kid. Yeah, The Kid. I remember that one. The movie where Bruce Willis gets visited by a child version of himself. Yeah, that film was really memorable? Number 7. Casting possibilities. So as we know, Bruce Willis had to star in the movie because he screwed up the production of another Disney film. But what about the other important actors who star in the movie, all of whom give amazing performances? Marissa Tomei was the original choice to play Cole's mum Lynn, but nothing came of it. When Toni Collette did her screen test, she acted out the traffic jam scene where she won everyone over. To her, she felt the movie wasn't a horror film, but rather a moving and beautiful story. Future Superbad and Scott Pilgrim actor Michael Cera auditioned for the part of Cole, but apparently screwed his audition up, delivering a performance that was more upbeat than tragic. When Haley Joel Osment read for the role, he turned up wearing a tie, which impressed Shyamalan. And he was so prepared for the part, he claimed to have read the script 3 times the night prior, which further impressed Shyamalan. And of course, he then blew everyone away with his test and he was cast. And not forgetting, of course, Mark Wahlberg's brother and former New Kids on the Block band member, Donnie Wahlberg, who played Vincent, a child who, like Cole, can see dead people, who grew up to be a very disturbed adult. To prepare himself for the role, Wahlberg lost a staggering 43 pounds. Number 6. M. Night Shyamalan also wrote 2 other movies in the same year as The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense is a beautiful movie which does tackle some pretty dark and confronting themes. It's kind of like an exploration into human nature, if you will, and the afterlife. The movie itself is full of emotion and sadness. So what other movies did Shyamalan write that also came out in 1999? Why, of course it was Stuart Little, the story of a talking mouse. Yeah, because Lord knows you think dead people vomiting and you think of a fun, playful talking mouse. But it only gets weird from here, as also that year he wrote the teenage romantic comedy She's All That. Seriously, these films couldn't be any different from each other even if they tried. Okay, She's All That is credited as being written by R. Lee Fleming Jr., but this is because Shyamalan was a ghostwriter for the movie. Wow, 1999 was a huge year for M. Night Shyamalan, thanks to The Sixth Sense, Stuart Little, and She's All That. Yeah, but still, The Sixth Sense. Number 5. Importance of the colour red. During the movie's production, there was an importance used over the colour red, with the colour being used sparingly. Every time red is seen in the movie, it's used in a scene to affect the emotions of the viewers. After all, red is the colour that does invoke the most emotions. Also, it's said that every time the colour red is seen, it's meant to represent a link between our world and the spirit world. I guess almost like an indicator that a ghost is trying to, or about to make contact. I can remember seeing an interview with the Sixth Sense producer Frank Marshall, who spoke about how important the use of the colour red was for the right scenes in order to get the right emotions. And what's interesting about this is that Marshall was also a producer for the movie Poltergeist, which also uses the colour red in some of the movie's emotional and scariest moments. So it's like the colour red connects the movies Poltergeist and The Sixth Sense. Number 4. Breaking records. The Sixth Sense was the surprise hit of 1999 that no one saw coming. Everyone assumed that The Phantom Menace was going to be the mega hit of that year, which to be fair it was, but didn't exactly get rave reviews from fans and critics alike. The Sixth Sense was a sleeper hit, in that no one anticipated that it would become the hit that it was, and totally blew audiences away with it being the second highest grossing movie of 1999, after The Phantom Menace of course. And considering all the other movies that came out that year, including The Matrix, Toy Story 2, Eyes Wide Shut and The Blair Witch Project, is a very impressive feat. Not even James Bond was a match for one little boy and his ability to see dead people. In fact, The Sixth Sense became the highest grossing horror movie, a title it held onto all the way to 2017, when finally after 18 years that honour was passed on to it. Number 3, the Chinese movie title gave away a massive spoiler. One of the greatest aspects of watching The Sixth Sense for the first time is the massive twist in which Malcolm turns out to be a ghost the whole time, and that he was just one of the ghosts that was contacting Cole. It's the kind of twist that catches you off guard while actually making sense, which made M. Night Shyamalan the king of plot twists. However, the title translation of The Sixth Sense in China was, "He's a ghost," completely throwing The Sixth Sense shock twist out there for all to see. And what's worse is that on some of the posters, the title was directly above Bruce Willis's head. So when people saw this movie in China, there might not have been as much audience shock with the twist, as the poster already kinda gave it away. I mean, that's like calling The Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader's your daddy or something like that. Number 2, horrific deleted scenes. Just as with most movies, The Sixth Sense has a variety of deleted scenes, including a scene where we see Cole visiting an old man and handing him lost diaries that the ghost of his deceased wife gave him, and an extended ending where the Malcolm character in his wedding video expresses his love for his wife, among other scenes. All these scenes were made available with the Sixth Sense DVD release. However, one grisly scene that never came to light is an apparent scene where Cole was traumatized by seeing a bunch of hideously mutated and deformed ghost beings in a hospital wing. I'm curious to see the scene, but I'm also glad that it was cut, as I feel like The Sixth Sense is more of a supernatural drama, and having that terrifying gruesome moment would have made it a straight up horror movie. Number 1, quote popularity. Whenever you think of The Sixth Sense, the first thing that will no doubt pop into your head is the "I see dead people" quote.
I see dead people.
The line has become immortalized in the world of cinema, and is so recognizable that if it ever gets mentioned, people know exactly what it means and where it comes from. The quote has become one of the most famous lines in movie history. Premiere Movie Magazine ranked it at 100 in a list of 100 greatest movie lines in 2007, and the American Film Institute placed it at 44 in a list of 100 greatest movie quotes. To be fair, part of the appeal of the quote is the chilling delivery Haley Joel Osment gives while saying the creepy line. It's a haunting line that still continues to haunt us to this day. I think that no matter what you say about M. Night Shyamalan, he hit a home run with The Sixth Sense, and it is a true masterpiece. Yeah, he's directed some films since then that haven't been very good, but hey, I don't care. I will put up with 20 bad Shyamalan movies if it means we get to have The Sixth Sense. So considering the movie is now 20 years old, it's probably time to go back and check out the movie again, to be reminded of how scary and captivating it really is. Anyway, I'm Minty, and I see YouTube people clicking the thumbs up. See ya!